good. There we go. That's a good hand clap. That's a good clap. Starting a good session. What's up, YouTube? All right, so we are balls deep into prep. It's 6 a.m. Getting up at 5 a.m. to come train for you guys. This is what we do, you know, we care for the people that give. Currently in a very aggressive part of prep, so we're gonna try and make this as lively as possible. My energy is definitely depleting and dipping. Started to notice now that this is, hunger's really setting in, energy slipping a bit, productivity, I've really got to have a list of things I need to get done in my day because stuff just falls off the back of my mind. You know, just all the basic stuff that takes part in prep while we go through, you know, still on 50 grams of carbs. I've got a refeed weekend this weekend, so excited to have that actually. Trying to organise surprise 60th for mum, make sure we're taking care of that and still being a good son and all that sort of jazz. Not being selfish in prep. But for this session, we have a lot of questions to get through. We've got a leg day. We've got to go through how I warm up and mobilise for this session. Then we got RDLs, leg extensions, hamstring curls, adductions, calf raises, nice and simple, in and out, but we will send it as hard as we can. At this point, the big push from SCAF has been that I need to pull back on my training intensity. Recoverability is just not there, especially my legs. My hips are very tight. So I've got treatments twice a week with the twice a month now with the Axiom team. We've got trigger balls, we've got foam rolling, we've got all that jazz in there. So doing everything we can to maximize. Last week I saw Chrissy Black for our first round of posing. He put me through the paces for like an hour. So got some feedback and cues to work on for mobility. Left thoracic rotation, left hip is a little bit tight, so that's just hindering my ability to get into shots. So I spent a lot of time there trying to loosen that up over the next few weeks. But otherwise, let's crack into it. We got an hour and a half, smash this session out, thereabouts. And yeah, we'll answer some questions and we'll throw Tom's ass under the bus as well.
Yeah, run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my...
Okay, so order of warm-up for me is with how tight my thoracic is. I've got the Axiom guys both working on that, so I see Tim and Matt on different days just to kind of, because they're so busy, I have to book in both of their schedules. Mid-thoracic, sub-scap, I've got them really smashing that, so I'll start with loosening up my spine a bit, try to decompress, as you saw, pull my neck forward, hitting the foam roller, then a foam roll mobilise through the hips. We'll have a trigger ball, Brooklyn forgot my trigger ball. So then I'll trigger ball the area. What I'll do today is get into the foam rolling, open up the hips up, get into some mobility, and then I'll do some weighted stretching, so things like some Jefferson curls, some contralateral B-stance RDLs, and some thoracic mobilization with the Smith machine. So try and get the body loosened up a fair bit. A lot of posterior chain stuff today, not as much anterior. So a lot more hamstring and glute focus here to try and get mobilized and freed up so that we can train effectively.
Hey, we outside. Yeah, we outside. Yeah, we out. Looking at the view from the top. Get into the bed, don't stop. Get into the bed, don't stop. Better catch up, cause we out. Look, I ain't skating through unless they talking 8 figures. Said I dream too big, but I do it way bigger. I'm the boss when I walk through, straighten up a sit-up. I ain't never had to tell them, but they know that I'm that. Finish that. So many wins, I had to go ahead and bring it back. I like you, my sons, go ahead and get the Similac. Yeah, swerve when I'm pulling in. I ain't asking for the spot, I tell them better give me that. Taking no losses, can't start now. You know it's about to go up when I touch down. And if they didn't know before, they gonna know now. That I leave a murder scene when I come round. In other words, you know that we about to kill it. I ain't for the talking, I said it, you know I did it. Putting on the show, the world is about to feel it. I know they getting scared when I tell them that. We outside. Yeah, we outside. Yeah, we out. Looking at the view from the top. Get into the bed, don't stop. Get into the bed, don't stop. Better catch up, cause we outside. Playing with me, know you playing yourself. If I got a game, I'm gon' bet on myself. Got it on my own, never needed your help. When you see me at the top, know I did it myself. You know we outside till the lights come on.
Starting gym in 2025, how do I do the fitness? How do I do the good speak? So One of the biggest mistakes that people make in a New Year's resolution or starting out with lifestyle modifications or trying to get into something is it's usually met with the most intense effort that they've never contributed elsewhere in their life, and they wonder why it implodes or doesn't last more than the 4 weeks that they've allocated to it, to that discipline or behavior. The first things that I do is work on people is understand who they are, where they are, what they have available, what their current life is like, and then work with the smallest effective dose of something possible. So if you're coming into the gym, into life right now, trying to improve your health, your nutrition, whatever it might be, pick 1 or 2 things that you know that you can do consistently with the least effective dose. Sorry, the most effective minimal dose. So that could be, if you're someone who has no serves of protein a day, let's start with 2. If you're someone who has no exercise in their week, let's start with a walk. If you're someone that has no gym schedule or program in your system, let's start with 2 sessions a week. We're trying to get the minimum amount of buy-in possible that will return the most amount of effort or investment and pay dividends really quickly. Trying to build motivation and build associated discipline, but also get results happening. So though they seem like small steps, this is where people go wrong. They undervalue the small steps, overplace their energy into the big steps, and then end up failing to build the consistent routine and habits anyway, and so they fall away and basically stop doing the thing. So pick 2 to 3 of the smallest things that you can do that you know are towards the thing that you want to achieve. Consistently apply that for 2 to 4 weeks, build the momentum to get past the first month, and then add to difficulty of that from there. At what stage should someone look for a coach? Honestly, any stage. Probably the sooner the better, actually. Provided you're sure you're ready to make the changes or you want the thing that you're working towards. So when you know that you have that goal or direction, generally a good coach will help you extract that out a bit more and get more clarity. But I've often found the ones with the least bad habits or learned behaviors from coaching that otherwise probably wasn't the most productive, I generally get the best results from. So it's kind of like you don't have to strip away what was taught or needs to be corrected and kind of just implement straight from the start. So for me, there's no real right time. The right time is really when you're ready and you're going to actually follow through and action what's being asked. Anyone can pay for a coach, but to be coachable and implement makes the big difference. So when you're ready to be coached and when you know that you need, which to be honest, everyone needs the outside help, when you're ready for that third eye, that outside perspective, and to actually take on the advice and listen, implement, understand communication and the expectations with your coach. When you're ready to commit to those things, then it is the perfect time to have a coach. Getting in as soon as possible and actioning as soon as possible, taking on, I think I've said this before, but for me, one of the biggest indicators of success is speed of implementation. The faster you can implement the things that are asked of you, the faster you'll see results, the faster you will see the outcome that you want, and the faster you'll get there. So that's probably for me when it's time to get a coach. Be coachable. Doesn't matter what training, what point in your journey or path that you're on, as long as you're coachable and you're ready to work and communicate and be engaged and involved, then it is the right time to get a coach. So what we're doing here on leg extensions is we're starting from our top set, pyramiding down as our reps increase. So it's kind of a linear load regression with a linear set rep progression. So you'll see 6 to 8 give or take failure in the first set, and then it's 10 to 12 in the second set, 12 to 15 in the third set. Each time I'll de-escalate the weight about 5-10 kilos. Ooh, training after a breakup. Use it for fuel or not? Absolutely. Fun fact, first time I really committed to the gym outside of training for playing rugby league was after a breakup in my girlfriend in high school, which started me down, I don't want to say it started me down this path because I was still training for rugby league, but yeah, by all means. One of the main reasons is that I often encourage, after a breakup, one of the things I've noticed is there are two kinds of people. The one who stays committed to figuring themselves out and finding out why it happened, and the one who's ready to rush into the next relationship. If the breakup was genuine and you want to truly understand why and figure yourself out, understand that path of self-development, then it's not so much using the gym for revenge or a get back body or whatever, social media wants to term it as. Yes, that's cool, but mostly it's the best course of action for physical self-development that will push you towards mental self-development as well. Once you start training and you realize that you're an amateur at something, that you suck, that your physique needs to work hard, that you have to train hard, there is no greater motivation than recognizing that you're a beginner at something and you want to stop sucking. Pair that with, yes, the emotional loss and the frustration that comes with a separation, especially if that person moves on to, what appears to be someone better than you, or you perceive as someone better than you, or, whatever it might be in that regard, then by all means, use the shit out of it. Whatever is going to get you into training and pushing yourself harder to be better, I'm all for it.
All black through the woods with a backpack and a lit match. Spark one time, got the whole city looking like a dark shade of orange when I burn it down. What it is, what it do, whole clique getting live on the talk of the town. Lemon City had a mouth and it wouldn't shut up. On a hunt for a crown, when I get it, I'ma burn it, cause nobody in the game right now even deserve it. What I need a crown for anyway, I should have a halo the way that I made a penny turn to gold. And a penny for your thoughts, I bet a penny for your soul. You know you want the riches and the money and the fame, so take a bite of the fruit if you choose. Let the juice drip down, then away to a pie full of gold and a house.
Inspired to train but scared to be a beginner. Any advice? The best advice for starting anything is that you have to be willing to be a beginner to get better. One of the biggest factors that lead to people stagnating, not starting, stopping, is that they're more concerned with being perceived as a beginner, as a fool, as newish, as a novice, and they're scared of what that perception will be in the public setting. They're worried about what people think, and that will prohibit or prevent them from actioning improvement and getting better, which then ironically leads to the retention of that stage that they're in. The less work that you do, the more likely you're going to be to stay a beginner anyway. So the best piece of advice that I have when it comes to beginning is take the first step to start and be willing to suck. Once you recognize that no one cares that you suck and it's simply the fact that you are getting better they care about, the faster you'll realize that it's important to keep going and you'll get more motivation out of it. So be less concerned with what everyone thinks about you being a beginner and be concerned with the fact that you need to begin. Can you be mentally tough and compassionate? That's a good question. Can you be mentally tough and compassionate? Yes. One does not cut out the other, nor does the other cut out the former. To be mentally tough does require degrees of intensity, but there's also degrees in which compassion makes sense towards being mentally tough. Tougher doesn't mean that you are simply looking down at others, doesn't mean that you're better than others, but being mentally tough, being compassionate, I would say you need to have a degree of compassion towards the people that you're playing against, towards yourself. Doesn't mean you're taking it easy on them, doesn't mean that you are going softer on them. Doesn't mean you're going softer on yourself, but understanding self-compassion, there's time and place for things, there's times to pull back, times to push. That points where I'll give the compassionate crowd is things like understanding you need to recognize where you have struggled or where your own problems are, that you aren't perfect, that you may be starting at a disadvantage. Where mental toughness kicks in is being tough enough to push yourself past that point and recognize where you need to action things anyway. The problem people have is they lean too heavily on self-compassion, or they lean too heavily on compassion, and they don't try hard enough. They take it easy, take a backward step, they validate being lazy, they validate their problems, they validate their excuses. Mentally tough are the ones who push forward in spite of that. So no, it does not mean you have to be one or the other. Yeah. Book recommendations for understanding discipline. I would go with for an advanced reader or someone wanting to get into philosophy, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. The Stoics are second to none at understanding discipline and where it matters. You could look at Extreme Ownership by Jocko. Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. How to Become 0.1% by Gareth Timmons. Those 4 books will change your perception on discipline and what the human body is capable of. Once you recognize one of my favorite things from Goggins, which is his rule of 40%, once you reach your absolute intensity, you'll realize that there's another 40% left in the tank. You realize that it's your responsibility to get the body to a position of absolute intensity. Be disciplined enough to handle what happens. Be disciplined enough mentally to overcome the body's objection to what you're trying to do and be able to push through it. Yeah, discipline becomes very clear from reading those books. Meditations is definitely a read. It's something you have to sit through and take your time with. You can find simplified versions, more condensed versions, but yeah, the Stoics genuinely had a good, clear understanding of discipline in most things. One of the 4 tenets of Stoicism is temperance, understanding moderation, being able to control yourself in certain environments, being able to control and discipline your mind for intake of things. Amongst a plethora of other beliefs and systems that they had. So that'd be my books. Too scared to pose in the gym, how did you start? Well, if you're competing, you don't have to rip that band-aid off, because I promise you the crowd in the gym is a lot less scary than the crowd in a convention hall, an exhibition center, or a theater. Posing, like, the thing that always gets me is people don't treat posing like their training, they don't treat it like their sport. It's the equivalent of saying, I'm a halfback, I'm too scared to tackle. It's part of your sport. Posing is the actual work that is required to display the work that you did in the off season. So you need to get over that fear of being in front of people the best way I find to do it is just rip the shirt off. Nothing will build your confidence more than recognizing that, A, no one in the gym cares. In the gym, yeah, you might get a few eyes, glance and stares, but it depends on the facility you have. A place like this, Powerhouse is known for being a bodybuilding facility. And we've run posing workshops here, usually on the gym floor because they don't have a separate room. Places like there's World Gyms, there's EMFs, there's fitness centers, and they have dedicated posing rooms now, which is great. They're a great place to start, so getting comfortable with your shirt off, perhaps with a coach or a friend around. It depends on early mornings. Often is a good time to do it when not as many people are there. Just get confident being in front of people with your shirt off. But generally, actually go into it with intention to perform. So you're treating it like you're training. You're executing the reps. You're actually hitting your shots with intention. And I see guys come in and kind of like, it's like going back to Generation Iron, and the guys, you're trying to pose with Arnie. He's like, you're hitting the way, you look so tiny. You need to open up, be a real man. That in your posing needs to be what you do in the gym, so you build that confidence so people stare at you less. I find that lower confidence comes through a lot easier, and it's really easy to pick off, and that person kind of becomes like a, what are you doing this for? Versus you go in there and go through your reps, go through your sets, go through your motions with an intention behind it. It becomes a lot clearer what you're doing. So I don't care if you're brand new, I don't care if it's your first day, I don't care if you're 10 years in. The difference is that confidence in what you're doing and the conviction and the effort. If I see you in here posing properly through your rounds, through your sets, I know that you're not taking the piss. If I see it's a massive gym floor and you just got your shirt off and you're trying to do a cute little tricep shot for Instagram, I'm just gonna say that you're in the way and you're taking up people's space. So everyone's free to do what they want in the gym, but that confidence side that I'm talking about, you've got to have that conviction in what you're doing. And the only way to get better, the only way to build confidence at things is to do it and suck. And then with that suck, you will get better. You'll build more confidence. You'll be more confident with your shirt off, you'll be more confident in your poses. So it just takes time. I wasn't 100% confident when I started, but in order to be the best at it, you have to get started and do it.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team. If you talking and talk to me nice, I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion. The game is in trouble, I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle, I got it for real. Still keep me going, I wake up and hustle, you won't see me buckle, I've been in the field. Man of the town, you been in your fields, I'm adjusting this crown. Call me your majesty, either that or your tragedy, we shutting everything down. I've been high like somebody put a candle on them. Off top, I don't really stand opponents, this mine, the moment is run out and start a bunch of pandemonium. More game, I got some, the skill is by one.
Terrible recovery and perfect genetics, or perfect recovery and terrible genetics? Probably the former. I've seen enough people train terribly, volumization, lifestyle factors, and just through sheer genetic arrogance, be able to outdo it. Drug components paired with good baseline genetics can kind of do a lot. Now, I'm the first person to say don't let bullshit genetics be the excuse that you can't outwork someone, but yeah, if I were to pick one or the other, terrible recovery, but a really good baseline of genetics. Depends on what I'm trying to achieve, actually. If it's genetics of like the bodybuilding components, then yeah, genetics will kind of win. If it's other sports, perfect recovery, hard work, sheer determination will do a lot up to a certain point. But if it's like overall pushing the aesthetic physique on stage, then usually what I find is like the genetic components of good recoverability, the good components of genetic structure, physique, makeup, muscle insertions, origins, generally pairs pretty well together. Like you have the genetics of the sport. So yeah, I'd probably take the terrible recovery elite genetics because there's just a lot that can be done with that outwills other things. Feeling unmotivated to train, am I just fatigued or is there something wrong with my goal? Look, a question like that is very nuanced and heavy. I'd have to see a lot of data points, a lot of training history, a lot of check-ins and stuff to see what's actually happening. It could be nutrient deficiency, it could be energy deficiency, it could be prolonged period of cutting or low calories or not fueling properly for training. It could be a misalignment of your goals and values, what you're trying to achieve. It could be a misalignment with your schedule and lifestyle. Sometimes I find with people, I've worked with a lot of people that have massive goals, they have high ambitions, but where their life currently is, it's not the phase for them to be pushing those extreme goals and pushing those big endeavors. A lot of the time I have to work with guys to have them understand what their current capacity is and where that can take them until we get things squared up and sort of sorted, set up if you will. An expression I kind of use pretty frequently is if you only have 70% to give 100% of that 70%, but that doesn't mean you have the capacity to do 100% every single day. That's still, what, 3/4 of what your actual capacity is. Sometimes your life just doesn't have the energy to give to these massive endeavors, but you can chip away at it over time in small areas. Yeah, having people understand that you might be feeling demotivated or flat or defeated because perhaps you're not getting as fast as you want to, or you're not getting to where you're trying to get to as soon as you'd like, or things just aren't actioning the way you expect them to. Sometimes life just doesn't align with the goals yet, and there's just a restructuring that has to take place for us to get to that and that outcome to occur. So that's kind of where like a lot of my coaching comes in, is figuring out where you currently are and what's in the way of achieving that outcome. What do we need to structure, put in place? And sometimes it's getting people to understand that what you might think is a 3-month track might be 6 months just to get going. But if you expand that time horizon, you give yourself the best chance of getting there and sustaining it. And so that motivation might be a factor of, many things like that that could be impacting why you don't feel motivated to train.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really.
What mental barriers have you found to stop people in training? A lot of the time people get started, and because they get so fixated, this is where it's important to have process, performance and outcome goals. A lot of the time people get started, they are fixated on the outcome. But then once you get started and you realize how much work is involved, you start to look at how far away that actual outcome is. The destination, the finish line, whatever you want to call it, that goal is so far away that there's no reinforcing behaviors, no reinforcing checkpoints, markers, objective locations, if you will, along the way that give you that positive reinforcement that what you're doing is working. And so what I find tends to happen is people get really caught up in their head about how far away that is. It's like, well, that's a lot of work and I'm not going to see any initial investment or return. I've done this before and it never worked out, so why try? And that to me is one of the key problems or mental thought processes that end up costing a lot of people their outcome and results. The time will pass regardless, right? If we look at it objectively, the first time you started to now, the time has passed, but what did you do? You kept stopping, so nothing happened. If you remove the concern with the outcome, once you set that outcome goal, focus on the processes every single day that are going to get you there. Focus on the performance metrics in the gym that are going to get you there. And then what happens is, as a byproduct of those two, the outcome becomes achievable. And that is way more reinforcing and positive, way more intrinsically motivating, way more driving than if you just fixate on the objective outcome. So that is probably the biggest thing that I find people struggle with, is once you set that objective outcome, is being able to visualize, structure and set the daily, weekly process goals, the daily, weekly processes that need to occur, the performances that need to happen, the performances that you have to put in that will lead to the outcome occurring and actually making that possible. So yeah, being able to reevaluate in your head that yes, this is a long time away, yes, this is going to take a lot of work, but I know what the alternative is to that work, which is doing nothing, and that gets me to where I currently am right now, which is nowhere. So why not just commit to that time frame anyway and just put in the processes and performances that get you there?
8 figures. Said I dream too big, about to do it way bigger. I'm the boss when I walk through, straighten up a sitter. I ain't never had to tell them, but they know that I'm that. Finish that. So many wins, I had to go ahead and bring it back. I like you, my sons, go ahead and get the Similac. Yeah, swerve when I'm pulling in. I ain't asking for the spot, I tell them better give me that. Taking no losses, can't start now. You know it's about to go up when I touch down. And if they didn't know before, they gonna know now. That I leave a murder scene when I come round. In other words, you know that we about to kill it. I ain't for the talking, I said it, you know I did it. Sitting on the show, the world is about to feel it. I know they getting scared when I tell them that. We outside. Yeah, we outside. Yeah, we out. Looking at the view from the top. Get into the bed, don't stop. Get into the bed, don't stop. Better catch up, cause we out. Playing with me, know you playing yourself. If I got a game, I'm gon' bet on myself.
All right, guys. So that is training done. First training vlog for 2025. For some reason I said 2021. A little bit off. A little bit. Don't know why. I relived COVID. Yeah, so we are back in full swing. Books are back open. Coaching services are open. Again, if you're looking for comp prep, if you're trying to get on stage, now is the best time to start, not 12 weeks out. We're looking for clients for season A next year, season B next year, not just season B and C this year. So make sure that you aren't leaving it last minute and we can actually give you the best effort, the best results possible. The ones who have maximized their results with us on stage have been with us the longest. That is not to sound like a money grab, it is to reinforce the idea that this takes time and that building up our association and knowledge with each other is the best way to go about this. So yeah, make sure you book in, consults are free. We want to make sure that we're the right fit for you as much as you're the right fit for us. Otherwise, keep following along. A lot more training content to come out, a lot more prep content to come out. We're still trying to figure this out and understand, what the best stuff to catch is, what's worth recording, what's worth seeing. Props to a lot of the full-time content creators because I swear you guys just make stuff up half the time on what you want to record and include in your day. But we will try and give as much raw, unedited footage as possible and give you guys behind the scenes of what happens to get on stage. So yeah, chat then.